Hello everyone, my name is Matthew, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things computer science and software engineering. Now in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about what technologies I plan to learn in 2021. And what that means is kind of just like what programming languages or what code frameworks or even just like new techniques for coding that I'm planning to learn in this year. And during that, I'll be talking a little bit about my thoughts on the technologies. Some of them will be new. I'm not even actually sure if many will be though, because a lot of them are mainstream, but they're not necessarily new. They're just technologies that I've never kind of learned and that I find interesting or I think might be interesting, and I want to go ahead and give them a shot. So I'll talk a little bit about my thoughts on each one and just like what I know about them, and kind of just go through that. So let's go ahead and get started. So when it comes to specifically what new technologies I'm looking to learn, I've made a little document here, kind of splitting them into little subcategories. And these are not necessarily like I'm learning it. It might be, especially for these CSS, or mainly for these, I'm improving my existing ability. So let's just go ahead and get into what these things are, because I feel like at least a good majority of all the things on here are practical skills, of course. I think maybe one or two, like maybe Kotlin, for me is just for fun. Like I'm not probably gonna use it that much, but most of these things are actually usable in my kind of field of work, except maybe Rust too. I'd say Rust is more of the fun language I'm learning. But either way, let's go ahead and start from the top of this list. So in terms of JavaScript frameworks, now what JavaScript frameworks are is they are ways to, or generally they are kind of frameworks or bunches of code that has already been written that help you achieve a certain goal, especially when you're talking about these JavaScript frameworks, you're talking, learning how to make websites, full websites, and depending on the type of framework, it could also assist you, or a similar framework could also assist you in writing apps, like apps that go on your phone. So that's pretty much what JavaScript frameworks are. They let you write entire websites or most of them in one programming language, JavaScript. And they come in very, very useful. So as if you probably already know, or you guys might not, I'm currently a full stack developer and I program in React. I know React, React Native, I know all of the, I use Node, but I also know Go. I use all kinds of stuff like that, but I specialize in React programming on the front end. Now I am looking into getting, a little bit of knowledge in the other three main kind of, or these other two main JavaScript frameworks, and then I'm also looking to learn Svelte, which is an up-and-coming, smaller framework that's used for building simpler apps. So I'm going to go ahead and open up these three, just to kind of explain a little bit. So Angular, or first I'll actually explain React. So React is made by Facebook. They're it's a JavaScript framework. That is used for building user interfaces or kind of websites, and it's very useful. I already learned this in the last year, and I really love the way React works, but I am definitely open to learning all of the new ones. Angular is built by Google. It is a full framework, as opposed to React is actually lighter, so it loads faster, it runs faster. But Angular is used for building entire mobile apps and desktop and websites. So it's a very, very powerful tool. And it can be used for very heavy apps if you want. And then Vue.js is if I'm not mistaken, it's another one of these JavaScript frameworks that is used for building websites mainly. I've never used it. I've heard of it a lot, so I'm looking into learning it this year as well. And then Svelte is a up-and-coming smaller, it's kind of smaller, it has a smaller following, but it definitely is very kind of interesting choice because it runs much faster than all of these three combined. Or I'm not sure combined, but it runs faster than all three of them, and quite faster than all three of them. So I'm definitely interested in learning the basics of Svelte, or I've done a couple tutorials, but like learning past the basics and actually making some sort of website that I'll use in Svelte. So as far as JavaScript frameworks, that's pretty much what I'm looking to learn. Framework add-ons are like, if you learn one of these, there are other libraries that help you do even more with them. And one of them that I'm looking to learn is Redux. Now, Redux is a kind of state management library add-on for React, but I currently use React Context, and I know it's recommended, but even at some of the projects in my work, I see it come up because a lot of old React developers or even React developers within the last before who learned React before 2019 or 2020 actually might or most likely will know Redux instead of Context. So I'm looking into learning this so I can help with my job. And then Sapper will be for Svelte. It's a Svelte add-on that helps kind of build full apps as well. It just makes it easier to build websites. Now, that's pretty much it in terms of JavaScript frameworks and add-ons. In terms of programming languages, I'm looking to learn Elixir, Rust, and Kotlin. Now, Elixir I'm looking to learn is mainly for me to build some sort of back-end kind of server, because currently I use no JavaScript, and I've looked into Golang, which is another programming language that is commonly used for back-end web servers. And just as an explanation, back-end web servers, of course, are the web servers that run code that kind of do everything in a website or do a lot of things. Like they can log people in, they can check who you say you are, they can, do all sorts of things that go on that don't happen like on a website. If you want to pay something, or that didn't say pay, but if you wanted to pay for something, then the backend server handles taking that information and sending it to the right payment providers and handling the payment and all of that. So that's pretty much what backend development is for, and you can use Go for that, you can use Elixir, and that's why I'm looking to learn Elixir, just to kind of see my options. And then I'm also looking, that was the main backend language that I'm looking to learn. And then maybe even a little bit of Rust too, which is, this is a kind of like a C and C++ programming language. If you watched my programming languages video, I know C and C++ are generally not recommended for beginners because they are low-level embedded programming languages, but I'm kind of looking to learn Rust because I already know C and C++, and I'm interested to see what a modern kind of performance language is, because Rust is a very, very performant language. It runs very, very, very fast. The code just may be harder to write than, say, Elixir. So that's the trade-off you get. And then Kotlin is a general purpose programming language that replaces Java. I never bothered to like really learn Java, and they say you can do many things that you can in Java using Kotlin, and it's much easier. It's much easier to write, and it runs better. So I'm gonna go ahead and learn this instead of Java, instead of learning more Java basically. And then in terms of CSS, I'm just improving on these two. I'm improving my animations because I only know basic animations, like the ones that I've shown you on my CSS animations tutorial series. Those are the fundamentals, in addition to maybe some more kind of slightly more intermediate stuff, but overall, like, I can't make amazing animations that you've probably seen on some websites, so I'm looking into improving on that. And then learning Tailwind, or improving my Tailwind, which is a kind of it's an amazing CSS framework, which we will be doing a tutorial series on in a few weeks, on the fundamentals, of course. Because I already knew another framework called Materialize CSS, which seems pretty similar, but I need to learn specifically, get better at Tailwind, because I know this framework pretty inside and out, and it lets you make all sorts of websites with cool styling. So you can also check that out, because I will be making a tutorial series on this framework as well, Materialize CSS. And that is pretty much all I have planned for 2021 in terms of new technologies, new frameworks, new code that I'm planning to learn. So if you want to see more videos like this, you can check out the playlist, which is linked in the description, where I've been uploading or where I upload actually every 4 days currently, and that might be subject to change in the future. If you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications whenever I post new videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.